The subframe system is a great installation tool for installing windows in masonry conditions. Typically, subframes are used in masonry openings so that windows can be anchored into the opening without having to anchor directly through the window itself. The subframe acts as a receiver to the window in which the subframe is anchored directly to the masonry. The window is installed into the subframe and is held into place with the use of compression trim clips. Subframes are typically considered for openings that have a flat anchoring area on all four sides in which the subframe can be installed. Irregular openings or openings that require covering over existing window frames should consider our panning system. One of the great advantages of using the subframe system is that it makes installing a large window easier. The subframe's four-piece track system is much lighter than the window and thus makes the installation process of squaring, leveling, and plumbing the window much easier than doing this with a window with much greater weight. Another advantage of using the subframe is that squaring, leveling, and plumbing are made much easier, especially when multiple window units are used in each opening. The subframe can also be installed from inside the building. This can be a great advantage in multi-story buildings where scaffolding or ladders would typically be needed. The procedures for installing the subframe are not complicated, but Gerkin recommends that a skilled installer who is familiar with commercial window installation be used for the installation. Subframe systems are to be ordered by rough opening size only. When measuring the rough opening, look for the smallest rough opening size. Measure in at least 3 locations, both in width and height. Typically, the outer edges of the opening and the center of the opening are checked. Gerkin will downsize the subframe and the window so that there will be a 1/4 inch joint between the rough opening and the subframe on all 4 sides. If this 1/4 inch joint is not followed, the window will not fit the subframe properly. The subframe can be factory pre-cut or can be sent 2 inches longer than the opening size for a custom fit. If sent long for field fabrication, the subframe members will need to be cut so that a 1/4 inch caulk joint can be used around the full perimeter of the opening. All anchors should be 16 inch on center. The subframe sill should be cut 1 1/2 inches shorter than the rough opening width. The shims used should be commercial installation hard impact shims. Set the subframe sill first by shimming 1/4 inch off the masonry to level. Center the subframe sill in the opening from jamb to jamb. There should be 3/4 inch clearance from each jamb to the edge of the subframe sill. Position your subframe sill off the face of the building as required. The sill will need to remain flat and level. Do not twist or bow the sill when shimming. Shims should be placed on the ends of the sill and then 16 inch on center. Drill a clear hole through the subframe. Next, change to a masonry bit and drill a hole into the masonry. Then place an anchor at each shim placement. Cut the subframe jambs so they are 1/2 inch shorter than the rough opening height. The subframe jambs should be centered in the opening with 1/4 inch joint at the head and sill. The subframe jambs should overlap the subframe sill and be shimmed 1/4 inch away from the masonry. Make sure that there is a 3/4 inch overlap of the subframe jamb over the face of the subframe sill. Compress the bulb weather strip into the face of the subframe sill. Plumb, level, and square in place. The shims used should be commercial installation hard impact shims. The jambs will need to remain straight. Do not twist or bow the jambs when shimming. Shims should be placed at the end of the jambs and then 16 inch on center. Place an anchor at each shim placement. Remove the temporary shim. The subframe head should be cut to fit snugly between the 2 jambs. Be sure to leave a 1/4 inch caulk joint between the head and the rough opening. The subframe head will need to remain flat. Do not twist or bow the subframe head when shimming. Shims should be placed at the ends of the head and then 16-inch on center. Place an anchor at each shim placement. Once the subframe is fully anchored into the rough opening, fill the joint with backer rod prior to caulking. Caulk the full perimeter of the subframe to the building on the outside with a high-quality 100% silicone caulk. Using fiberglass insulation or a soft-cured insulation, insulate the 1/4 inch cavity around the inside perimeter of the subframe. The joint between the subsill and the subjambs will need to be filled with backer rod and silicone. Silicone all the remaining joints and anchor heads. Prior to installing the window into the subframe, run a bead of silicone on the inside legs of the sill on the window frame. Also, run a bead of silicone along the inside edge of the bulb weather stripping at the jambs and head. Lift the window into the opening by first setting the sill of the window onto the subframe sill. Once connected to the sill, pivot the window forward into the jambs and head. Insulate the void between the window and subframe with batt insulation. Make sure the subframe jamb clips are the same length as the subframe jambs. Place the barbed end of the clip into the subframe receiver groove. Do not use caulk around the interior clips. Using a block of wood, 1x4, and a hammer, set the block of wood on the clip and position the block of wood as close to the outside edge of the clip as possible. Using the hammer, pound the block of wood to snap the clip into place. Repeat with the opposite jamb. Work your way up the clip until the whole clip is snapped into place. The clip will not engage unless the edge of the clip takes the brunt of the force. Hitting anywhere but on the edge of the clip may damage the clip. Remove the temporary shims. Measure between the two subframe jamb clips. Cut the head clip for a tight fit. Place the barbed end of the clip into the subframe head receiver groove. Do not use caulk around the interior clips. Using a block of wood, 1x4, and a hammer, set the block of wood on the clip and position the block of wood as close to the outside edge of the clip as possible. Using the hammer, pound the block of wood to snap the clip into place. Work your way across the clip until the whole clip snaps into place. The clip will not engage unless the edge of the clip takes the brunt of the force. Using 100% silicone caulk, seal the full inside perimeter of the subframe. By closely following these window installation procedures, your windows will perform at their best in operation and energy performance. Thank you for choosing Gerkin Rhino Series aluminum windows.